Hello, world. You are in tune to Marvelous Talk. And of course, you've got your host here, Big G and Max. Big G, Max, how y'all doing today, man?
Man, enjoying Memorial Day weekend, man. This is how it is. For the first time, the sun is shining. It's been raining so hard in Ohio. Man, it's been like Noah's Ark up here, man. So the sun is shining a little bit. It might have an opportunity to do some stuff, get out in the sun. But I want to definitely take time to spend time with my marvelous podcast brothers and get this information out to our viewers and fans.
Definitely. Max, how you doing, bro?
Doing good, enjoying the weekend. I really want episode 3 already, man. I really want episode 3.
Oh my gosh, don't I understand and agree? My mind is blown. My mind is blown. We're definitely here to talk about Obi-Wan episode 2. And before we do, just let's make sure that if you're here with us, make sure that you like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on Twitch and YouTube so that you'll get that notification when we go live. Man, look, I am ready to talk Obi-Wan episode 2. It's phenomenal. But before we get into that, let's get into this. And of course, we are right back here with Marvelous Talk, man. Listen, episode 2. Just a brief overview of episode 1. We left episode 1, and we know that Leia has been kidnapped, and we know that why Reva is trying to pull Obi-Wan out of his hiding right now. And Reva, man, she just got it bad for Obi-Wan. She got it bad. We know that came out. Grand Inquisitor's not real happy with her. With the other running partners, the other Inquisitors are not real happy with her. Reva is just, she's out there. She's a cannon, loose cannon. But Max, kind of bring us up to speed.
So after the events of episode 1, we end with Leia being kidnapped, and we got Obi-Wan on the planet Daiyu. He's looking for Leia, and help comes in unexpected ways sometimes. There's help from a Jedi. This little kid approaches him, says, "Hey, do you want to help do you need help? We have a Jedi who can help you." This is after Obi-Wan. He sees a clone veteran, which I think was a little cool drop in for the episode. He's begging for money. Obi-Wan gives him the money. It's crazy to think about that, which we can break down later. But there's this guy named Haja. He's the definition of a scammer. He forced Jedi. He mind tricks someone over the phone, basically. This family buys its crap. He uses a magnet to lift stuff up, and they're like, "Oh, God, you're the best." Obi-Wan confronts him, like, "Hey, I need to find this little girl." And what better place to start than with a rat like Haja? Rats know the sewers. Using Haja, Obi-Wan's able to find Leia. He gets confronted by the bounty hunters who took her. Using some spice, he escapes with Leia in tow. This is kind of that part of the episode where it's kind of like a father-daughter like moment where, the daughter's being bad. Again, Leia is just rebellious instinctively. It really is Anakin's spawn. She's like, "Who are you? Why do you have a lightsaber? Are you a Jedi? Make me float. Show me your powers." They're trying to escape. They're trying to get off planet. And meanwhile, Reva puts out a hit on both of them. So every bounty hunter is looking for them. The whole planet. The Grand Inquisitor relieves the third sister of anything. He's like, "We're done. You're too much of a risk. You're just a sewer rat to us. You're beneath us."
And really, let's not gloss over that. Let's not gloss over that. Two things I don't want to gloss over. I watched Bad Batch. I really think that the bald-headed guy that was there, I forget his name, but I really think that was him that was begging for alms in the helmet. Right, I really think that was him as a clone. I think that was him. I think, and I think that was a good way to mention it. But let's move forward with Reva right here. Reva's like, yo, we found out that she's exceptionally gifted in the Force. How do we know that? They said, look, you're not even really supposed to be here. Grand Inquisitor's like giving her the business. Just telling her, hey, look, you're not even supposed to be here. You know, you're just horrible. You know, basically, like, we wouldn't even put you in a position had you not had these gifts. You know, so really what you are is way beneath us, you know, and you just here. So what I need for you to be is silent and just be quiet and do what I said, follow orders. So he didn't just like, you know, tell her step back. He belittled her and went all the way back, you know, with deep. So he took out the knife, put it in and turned it a couple of times, you know.
That's an interesting phrase to use when it comes to them, because a little later in the episode, there is going to be a knife shoved in the Grand Inquisitor, and it's going to be twisted by Reva. And by knife, I mean lightsaber. And, you know, so basically Obi-Wan and Leia thinks he's bad. He thinks he's a bounty hunter because he's being so closed off to her. He won't tell her anything about him. So she runs off. You see Obi-Wan, he's fighting, but the lightsaber hasn't been ignited. He's just been shooting with a pistol, and he's not a great shot. You know, it's really crappy. They escape. He displaces Force. He catches her. And when he did it, and we can talk about it real quick, it looked like the biggest strain of his life. And it wasn't that big of a feat. You know, I guess when you get a little older, certain things get a little harder. But it didn't look like what he did required the effort he had to use.
Well, Max, think about it. Okay, so I'm just going to break it down in layman's terms as far as an athlete, right? I'm 50 years old. In my mind, I can still bench press 475. In my mind, I know what 475 takes. I know the effort, energy, and strength, right? But I'd be a fool to go and put 475 on the bench and be like, take it off, and let me have it because it's going to crush my chest. But in my brain, I got it. And so that's sort of like the thing with Obi-Wan. In his mind, he knows what to do, right? He's got all the strength, all the power, and all whatever else. But to push that out of him after it's been laying dormant for 10 years, oh, man. Oh, my goodness. It's a no chancer.
That's the key. He hadn't used that muscle in a long time. 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I want to make some jokes. I'm not going to. I'm going to be mature. But, I guess they make a pill for that. It's hard and you get a little older, But, he gets, Leia buys into the trust after that. She's like, okay, this guy is a Jedi. He's good. And she realizes, she actually calls him out. She's like, they're all here for you. They're not even here for me. I'm just a pawn. They want you. They don't really want me. And, they make their way to a platform. Haja comes back. He's like, yo, I know I'm a scammer. I know I belong to the streets, but let me help you. I can help you. They give them a chip. He tries to slow down Reva, and Reva's like, slams him into a wall. And he's like, are you using magnets? Oh, no. And she just like steals information from his mind. She probes into his mind using the Force. He catches up with them as they're about to board the ship to escape. And before we get into it, this was the best scene. This was the scene, right, of the episode. Both episodes. This was just 10 out of 10, right, guys?
Yeah. So, without a doubt.
So she's like, Obi-Wan, where are you? And you see it's just lit up by a red lightsaber, and he's hiding. She hasn't seen him, but she knows he's there. She can feel him.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm going to bring you to him. And his face is like a little puzzled. And she goes, I'm going to bring you to Lord Vader. And you can see the blood has been drained from him, basically. And you can hear her say, like, you see her pause, and she can feel it in the Force, and she's like, oh, you didn't know? He's alive. And oh my God, it's like we speculated before the show. Does he know? And it was clear he didn't know. And it's like he heard the name of a ghost. It was unbelievable. And, someone saves the day, and that someone was the Grand Inquisitor, because he interrupts her as she's going to find him. And that's when she stabs him in the heart, presumably to his death, but we don't really know with him because he's a weirdo. They escape. And the last word of the episode is muttered by Obi-Wan, and it's Anakin. And I mean, does anyone want to say it? I mean, I can't even talk. I'm getting like goosebumps when he says Anakin.
It's like when he said Anakin, and I told G this earlier, Anakin felt him for the first time again, and his eyes opened. And in that Bacta tank, which was very nasty, by the way.
He is a husk of a man. He looks like a really bad dude. And Leia, too, added to it when she's like, what's wrong? Hello? He's in shock. You can't believe it.
He can't believe it, man, because he's like, Anakin. He didn't even really want to say the name, Definitely, it to speak the name gave him some kind of, oh, man, wow, like I don't even want to whisper the name, but he said it.
It changed his view, right? Because remember, we saw all throughout episode 1, he's trying to hide. Episode 2, he's like, okay, some Inquisitors is after Leia. Maybe they might know she's Force sensitive, maybe they not, but I really don't know what this is all about. And then he finds out, wait a minute, they're really hunting me, not for the fact to kill me, they're hunting me because they want him to be the Anakin, who is now Darth Vader. And wait a minute, he's alive? I know I killed him. I know I finished the deal. I saw him caught on fire. No, I saw him caught on fire, chopped off his legs and his arms. It was over, right? And this Joker is alive. Oh my God. Oh my God. So that's really like, that's what's talking about. He's in shock because he cannot believe that, because the one thing he was supposed to do, I'm going to protect Luke. Now it went from this little small scope to now it's like, oh my God, I'm right back in the war. I'm right back in the war. It's Jedi full blown. And I don't even know how to get there over again.
Let's jump to it. Let's jump to it, man. You got to think about this. He now is the gatekeeper. He can't be caught at this point because he's the gatekeeper for Luke and Leia. If he's caught, now Anakin gets an opportunity to know that Luke and Leia exist. He doesn't know. Anakin doesn't know that he has 2 kids out, right? He knew Padme died, but he thought the kids died with Padme, right?
Yeah.
So, this is something now Anakin, Obi-Wan at this point is now like, I could just think it's making a cocktail in his mind like, oh my God. So not only is this dude alive, he's hunting me. Not only is he hunting me, if he finds me, he's going to find out about these kids. I can't do that. I can't do it.
And I was thinking about it. Anakin knows Bail. He's met him before. And I think, people are going to say, well, wouldn't Lord Vader just go confront Bail about like, hey, Obi-Wan saved your kid. Where is he? Right. I think he knows, since like Anakin knows him and he probably knows that Vader's Anakin, he's like, he won't confront him. He's like, I can't. Like, it's like he's scarred from ever talking to people who know him, his identity, because he's ashamed of it. Right. And Vader, I think people are going to think, well, they're going to show some good in Vader. I think Vader's going to be the worst he's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
He gets brought back to the light, but he hates Obi-Wan. He hates him for what he did to him. And it's like, it's kind of true. Like Anakin could still have good in him, but you'd still hate Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan literally puts you in this box of just torture. It's torture for him to be Vader. It's torture except when he's not. Everywhere is torture except when he's in the Bacta trying to heal his lungs that are filled with volcanic ash. So like, and the way they made him look was even cooler. Like he looks terrifying. And it's like, gosh, it knocked me on my butt, man, just to see that scene. That was the best scene, I think, in a Star Wars show. I think it topped anything in Mandalorian because these characters are so beloved. Like, this is like the flagship of Star Wars.
Right. When he opened up his eyes, he was full-blown Sith, too. Right? It wasn't like he opened up his eyes and it was Anakin Skywalker. He opened up his eyes and he was full-blown Sith. Look, reddish eyes, fire in his eyes. And he was like, oh, this dude talked? Wait a minute. Oh, I know where he's at. Because, Max, me and Ma talked about this in the chat line or just talked about it in general. So we got to remember, Obi-Wan suppressed his powers. The first time he used his powers in the whole thing was when he reached for Leia and didn't let Leia fall and die, right? But that was just like more focused, right? it made everybody on the planet who was Force sensitive know that he was there. But when that Joker said Anakin, it's like a wave of Force stuff just went out in the atmosphere.
Well,
And
do you
when
think
it
it's
did-
that? Or is it just Anakin and his bond? And like they can remember how Rey and Kylo have like the diadem and the Force where like they can speak to each other. It's just them two. Do you think it's something like
Yeah.
that?
I think it's a combination of both. I think that it's not just the fact of, because you got to remember, or just all of us just think and assume Obi-Wan's one of them top tiers Jedi. He's a super master, right? He should have been on the council. So it has been a long time since Vader, who is probably what we know as far as our understanding, the most Force-sensitive being that ever lived, because he had the highest midichlorian count that ever existed in history. So now this Joker that's got the highest midichlorian count in history felt something that was almost just as strong or as strong as he was with the Force.
Yeah,
So
and I mean
when
that's
he
why
spoke, it had a ripple effect.
and that's why Yoda's on Dagobah, because there's a lot of dark side to cover up the light that he is, so they can't find him.
Right.
So I
Right,
mean,
right.
there's credence to both theories. You know what I'm saying? So when he said Anakin must have just been like fierce. And I think the next episode we're gonna get some Vader. I know that's jumping a little bit ahead,
Yeah.
but I mean, I feel bad because we're just talking about the last scene. But oh my gosh, it was the best scene in the Star Wars TV show, in my opinion. I know it's probably just
It made Max. It made it all. It was the big payoff, man. I mean, it's the big payoff, and we only at episode 2. I mean, it made, to me, this thing. It made. Oh man, I almost felt like A New Hope again. I almost felt like a kid watching A New Hope and was like, "Whoa, what is this I just saw?" Right? You know, and we talk about the guy who's pretending to be a Jedi, right? We talk about him, and
He was trash. He was
then we
trash.
talk about the soldier. The one thing he asked Qui-Gon for help. At that moment, he got the soldier, and then he got the dude pretending to be a Jedi, right? So Qui-Gon is there. Qui-Gon is definitely there, and he's helping. And I think now that he stepped into his purpose, he's going to get some Qui-Gon. We're going to get some Qui-Gon too, right? We're going to have to get some Qui-Gon because, to G's point, Vader is so strong, but he can sense you from wherever you at. You know what I'm saying? So he gonna know where you. Oh, he at Tatooine. Let me go make this thing happen. So he's gonna have to find a way to cover his trail. He doesn't have what Yoda has. You know, with the dark side covering Yoda, he doesn't have that. So now he's gonna have to figure out a way to suppress who he is. We already know he's gonna be back on Tatooine, right? We already know that because that's where he ended up. That's how him and Luke got together. So yeah, we know this for sure, right? So this is where I'm thinking, how are we gonna land this plane? How are we gonna land this plane? How are we gonna get Obi-Wan safe? And here's the thing I gotta ask you: are we gonna get a Vader Obi-Wan confrontation?
No, I would say no, just based off. I would say no, based off of the events of episode 4, when he's like, "When I left you, I was a learner." That was like the first time they've seen each other since. That's what I think. Which sucks, but maybe I'm wrong. Could be wrong.
Yeah,
What do
I
you
had
think,
told
G?
I had told Maud that, you know, I went back and I looked at some of the novel stuff with Vader, and once again, I think Disney Plus is going to take some liberty because every time Vader. Okay, so Max, you know this because you're just as much as a Vader head as I am, right? Every time Vader's been in a whole lot of battles throughout, you know, from the time, you know, we see him in Star Wars Episode 1 all the way from the time when we got the original Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He fought a whole bunch of dudes, and he almost got whipped with an inch of his life a whole bunch of times, right? Like Vader, everybody always thought he was going to be the Sith Padawan. There was other guys trying to take Vader out, and Vader almost got whipped within an inch of his life a few times. So when he goes and gets revived and reset up and restarted over, it's almost like he gets his memory wiped a little bit, sort of like the Winter Soldier. So I think that Disney's going to take the liberty to say, make it seem like that if we do get a fight between Vader and Ben, it'll be one of them situations where he'll never remember it, right? But it might go down like that, right? And so that's answering your question, Ma. But to throw it back to the group, I got a question. Since this sister number 3, right, and she's not an original canonized Star Wars character, man, how beast mode is she, man? Because this man, listen, I love Darth Vader as far as a character, and I guess she's not a Sith, she's a Force sensitive Inquisitor, but man, this young lady is a beast. She is a beast, man.
I think just to put it in perspective, is she's strong. She's probably not as strong as the Grand Inquisitor was, but she iced him at the end of the episode. But just in terms of power, it's Palpatine here, Vader, and then I think it's like a huge gap. Yeah. But she's strong. Like, I don't think she'd stand a match for Obi-Wan in his prime. But Obi-Wan's past his prime. He's relearning how to use the Force. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I liked her so far. She's really got it out for Obi-Wan. She has a vendetta. She's like acting like a Sith where she killed her own teammate just to get to him first. Right. And she's lethal. She's like, she doesn't care. She's like, I will stop at nothing. Like, she tortured Haja so freaking quick. She was like, I don't even care. I'm not gonna play with you. Like, first of all, I was kind of like, why are you entertaining this fool? And then she was like, oh, you're not a Jedi. And she just like almost killed him in like 2 seconds. Yeah. And she's chopping off people's hands earlier. Like, oh my gosh.
Hey, you know, she has no coof. She is like unrestrained, and she really doesn't care. Like, she really doesn't care at all. But I think, like I said, the big payoff was him finding out that Anakin's still alive, because now it's like, how do I navigate this whole thing? You know, how do I keep my thoughts silent so that this guy doesn't know where he is? And I'm hoping that we get some of Big G's action. I'm hoping that, you know, Vader does forget that they have met before. It would be nice to see them, you know, sound off. But I think our big battle is going to come between, you know, sister number 3 and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan gets himself back into playing shape, and he's able to kind of, you know, start handling some stuff. Because, I mean, think about this. In the books, doesn't Obi-Wan save Owen from Black Chrysanthemum?
Yeah. Yeah, he has a meeting with Black Chrysanthemum. Yeah, and he does some other stuff. He fights some Sand people off, some gang members. But yeah. I think that's so easy for him. Like, even though he kind of struggled a little bit, he still kind of whooped everyone's butt. He fought. And he's like 10 years past his prime right now.
Yeah.
Well, they were laughing at him. They were like, I didn't know Jedis bleed. I was laughing. I said, oh, man.
I got a question to ask to the panel, to Max and as well as mine, right? So how come the sister number 3, because we know what the Inquisitors are, right? We know it from the comic book lore. We know it from the canonized books. We know it from the novels. We know what the Inquisitors are. The Inquisitors, for those that don't know, were basically tortured by Vader. Vader and like the Sith Lords and them whipped them dudes into shape, per se, you know, and that's why it looks like they're robotic and they're Sith and sinister and they're off-white, don't have no color. This sister number 3 is walking around like she looked like a straight-up human being, right? She looked like a human being with some boss braids. Like, she been to the shop and she done got hooked up with these boss braids, right? So my question is, by her being that powerful, us seeing how powerful she actually is, are we going to see her actually become an Inquisitor? Because, you know, Max, correct me if I'm wrong, Inquisitors get hauled out within their life. They have to get beat down to within submission.
Well, yeah, they get tortured. You know, they torture them to unlock the dark side in them. I think she is to a certain degree, but I don't know, man. It's kind of weird how I wonder if we'll get some backstory to her. Maybe they'll show. I think maybe that's what we're gonna get in the next couple episodes. So I'll wait to say it till towards the end. But that's a great point, man. That's a great point. Like, you know, he's an alien. The other guy, he's not really a human, straight up, the Grand Inquisitor. Right. But he did get tortured. He got some stuff done to him, just to become a better dark side user. Right. And I mean, I loved his lightsaber when he's like twisted and he's like spinning it. That was pretty cool. You know, this episode, there wasn't a lot to talk about. Like there's really much there's not a crazy ton to break down, but the last scene is like you have to spend all the time on it because that's literally what the show's about. It's about Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Right.
And we got what 20 seconds of Vader in 2 episodes,
20.
and it's all at the end.
Right.
20 seconds of
I'm
Vader.
just saying, that boxer take was nasty. You see
Bro.
all that loose skin floating in there. Oh my gosh! Look, Max had to wipe his face.
No, my God, it was bad, but it was also the way the music was. It was like, holy crap, this dude's about to be a problem next episode. And so, I mean, obviously, the second one was better than the first episode. You know, it was just more. There wasn't more that happened necessarily because it was all about rescuing Leia, which he did. But the reveal of Anakin just took this episode for me and made it a 10 out of 10. It was awesome.
Okay, so
Wow.
you just answered my next question because we were coming to parting shots. So number grade, Max just gave it a 10 out of 10, you guys. Big G, what do you say? Number grade, 1 being the least, 10 being the best?
Okay, so this is my big moment as far as the show is concerned. I really believe that these first 2, part 1 and part 2 of episode 1 or 2, whatever you want to call it, from Disney Plus for Star Wars is the best Disney Plus product for episodes 1 and 2 of anything they put on the screen. I think episode 1 and 2 of this show is better than any episode 1 and 2 for Mandalorian, for Boba Fett, for WandaVision, for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, for Loki, for anything that's been on Disney Plus. This episode 1 and 2. Now, I'm not saying it's the best Disney Plus show so far, but if they stay on this pace, this will be this show, Obi-Wan at Kenobi, has the ability to join the original 6 Star Wars canon as like up and being a part of that. That's
Agreed.
my. So it's beyond a 10, and that's why it took so long to like break it down and explain.
Agree. I agree. I totally agree with G. Totally agree with Max. 10 out of 10. Definitely once you put the 2 shows together and we look at them in unison together, man, it's a 10 right now. It's a 10. They told a great story. The story's progressing. It's not slow. It's easy to follow. There's action. There's drama. You know, I can't say enough, man. I mean, right now we got a 10 out of 10. I hope we stay that way. And man, I mean, you know,
Do you think we will?
So here's the deal. Moving forward, what do we got? What are our predictions for next week's show, Max?
Episode 3 is a Vader episode. We just saw him. I think it's going to pick up with him getting out of the Bacta. He's going to kind of just like go into a rage. The Emperor might call him. And I think we're going to see a lot of Vader. So if the episode's an hour, I'm going to say we're going to get 40 minutes with Vader next episode and 20 with Obi-Wan, something like that. And I think he's just going to return Leia to Alderaan, and then he's going to be like in shock or something. I don't know. Maybe that's when he tells Bail, like, hey, Anakin's not dead.
I personally believe that the episode 3 is going to be a lot of flashback. I really believe that you're going to see a lot of flashback stuff. The stuff that went down between Anakin and Obi-Wan that we might not have never known and what happened. And I think there's going to be some explanation of stuff to Leia, right? I think you're going to get bits and pieces of it. And then I also think we're going to find out really what the pecking order is for the Inquisitors. And I think this is where they're going to tie in some of that Inquisitor story. But the big reveal might be at the end of episode 3, where you see Vader get the false arms and the false legs and the helmet drop down on his head and be like, oh, it's time to get it popping. I'm going to kill Obi-Wan.
That'd be pretty cool to see, like, Vader getting into a suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be. How do you think they're going to do the voice? Like, do you think they're going to have, what's his name, James Earl Jones? Or are they going to just kind of have him without, like, the helmet on, maybe talking or something?
I think they're going to use some of the James Earl Jones stuff. I mean, it might be another guy talking, but they're going to use it as far as the voiceover and try to mimic it, you know. But I think definitely he's going to always have the same voice no matter what. He's freaking Vader. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think we're going to see the arms, the legs, the helmet pop on him, get fully assembled and be ready to go and go get. He's woke now. So he knows, I don't care nothing about nothing else. I want to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. It don't matter. All y'all in the way. I'll kill all of y'all. I'll kill Palpatine to get to Obi-Wan.
Hey,
I want Obi-Wan gone.
I believe it. I believe it. And man, listen, Max, you have one more thing before I close it down?
No, we good.
All right, man, listen. Make sure that you get ready because next show is going to be phenomenal. And make sure if you like what you're seeing, make sure you like and subscribe so that you get the notifications when we do go live on YouTube and Twitch. And then definitely like us on Facebook. Man, I'm going to tell you, I am so excited for the next episode. I'm excited for you guys. You guys got me hyped. I ain't been hyped like this in a long time. But man, we thank you guys for rocking with us. We'll see you soon. Peace.